Hey guys, what's going on? My name is Luke,
And I'm Alan.
and we are a DJ duo out of Michigan named Alu. This video is basically to explain and introduce what our project is and what we're trying to accomplish moving forward in the future, and kind of to tell you our story and where we came from and what we're trying to and where we're trying to go with this. To start off, the name Alu stands for Always Looking Up, and it's basically holding a message that regardless of what's going on in your life, good or bad, right or wrong, things always get better. And we thought it was awesome especially for a duo name, because music itself is just a nonverbal way of expressing positivity and emotion, and we thought that we could kind of combine that message with that takeaway really well. And the music we want to make and the music we want to offer to our fans moving forward is something very emotional and positive and uplifting, and stuff that will really capture that moment. And really keep them in a time of happiness when they think back to listening to our songs and being with friends and stuff of that matter.
Capturing those moments is really what makes music memorable for me. Thinking back to hearing those songs for the first time really puts you back in that place where those times where you're happy with your friends, having a good time, and it's those moments that we want to be able to provide for the people that listen to our music and follow us on this journey as well.
Moving on with the future of this brand and our long-term goals, we really love fan engagement and love when artists have done that in the past. And kind of what we want to do is make it aware that we are there for our fans, and we want to hear their stories as well as document and show ours and the growing pains we go through trying to make this a reality for us. But we do really want to get to know what our fans go through on a daily basis, what makes them upset, what makes them happy, their defeats, their wins, and connect with them in that way. We would love to kind of sit there and talk with them as well on live streams or whatever. And if they're having a bad day, try to make them happier, or vice versa. They can help us out if we're having a bad day. It would be awesome to us if we can achieve that in some sort of way moving on.
Yeah, this project, it's not going to be all about us. We really want to keep it more of a we thing as our fans and us combined in this together.
Yeah, and some of the ways we want to keep engaged with the fans moving forward is through things like YouTube, Instagram, SoundCloud, writing back in our comments, messaging people back in their DMs if they have a question or if they just want to talk to us. Even in our YouTube videos, if you guys have ideas of what you want us to make or whatever, hopefully we can get to that point where we can live stream and talk to you face to face.
All right, so that's a little bit about us and what we have going on in the future. But right now we're going to take it back a little bit and talk about how we got here in the first place.
Yeah, we really kind of want to give you guys our backstory and kind of why we wanted to even make this project and why we wanted to get into producing in the first place. It honestly started for me back when I was 14. My brother took me to my first dance music show, and it was actually Zed, way back when he first came out with Clarity, and it was something. It was before I even met Alan, and it was something crazy. I never heard anything like that. I never, found that energy or felt that energy at a concert before, and I was hooked on dance music from the beginning.
Yeah, and at that point, I didn't even know who you were yet.
That was sophomore year of high school when I met you.
Sophomore year.
We played hockey together, and then I took you.
Well, yeah, you took you long enough to pressure me into going to one of these shows, and it was Zed again.
Was Zed
this time downtown Detroit? Sonic Temple, right?
What year was that?
2014.
15. Yeah, it was senior year of high school. It was 2015.
2015. And yeah, it's one of those things where you don't know what it's like until you know. It's so much different than you'd expect any other concert or show, especially when you're in that closed-in environment.
Mm-hmm.
It really makes you feel it, and exactly like you said, ever since then I was hooked on it, and it's all I've listened to ever since.
And then that year too, senior year of high school, I actually discovered Miami Ultra Music Festival, which I'm sure a lot of you guys know. And me and my brother made it a goal to go that year, and we did, and he watched it on live stream, and I will never forget. This is like the moment where I knew I wanted to pursue this, and I'm sure a lot of people have this moment, but I was like so addicted. I've never been anywhere in my life where like for 3 straight days, everybody you met had a smile on their face. No one cared about work. No one's cared about school. Like, it was literally just the music and just that feeling and moment of when you saw your favorite artist like that for the first time, international, worldwide artists, you see them for the first time, they're playing one of your favorite songs, and everybody around you is dancing and having a good time and happy. I mean, it's a moment that you never forget, and you can create that with anybody. And that was the coolest part. I was there with none of my friends. I was creating it with strangers, and everyone was happy, and it was just the most emotional and uplifting thing I've ever experienced in my life, and I have been obsessed ever since that moment.
What's even crazier is watching in the live stream, I still got goosebumps just sitting there in my room.
Yeah, and then I ended up taking him a couple years later.
Yep. Back-to-back years we went.
But that was what? Was that 2018?
Yeah, 2018, and we won again in 2019.
Yeah. I had to take him. It was a goal of mine, and it was just, again, I mean, every year, I think I went for, 4 straight years?
Something like that, yeah. Blew all my expectations out of the water when we got there.
Yep. And then, but that's where it started, you know? And we had this thing senior year of high school as well, where we actually tried to produce a little bit.
Way back when.
Didn't work out.
Yeah.
We had no idea what we were doing, and we took a break. But then when we got into college,
first
started it.
Started DJing, got the first little Newmark Mix Track 3 Pro 3 or whatever it was, the small cheap little one you get on Amazon. Finally learned how to DJ, and then I got him going on it.
Yeah, so that was summer going into sophomore year.
I think so, yeah.
Where he invited me over to his house, and he would make these mixes, and you would DJ for me, and I got I was so scared.
Yeah.
I was so scared to do it at first. It looked so hard, and I loved it. He gave it to me for a weekend, and I couldn't put it down. I was so obsessed, I went and bought one the next weekend. And this is kind of where our story deviates for a little bit.
Yeah, college really, it took a turn for both of us, because we split ways, didn't go to the same college.
I went to Michigan State, and you went to Grand Valley.
Correct.
Which is in Grand Rapids, if you guys aren't from Michigan. But what ended up happening is that after he taught me, I started making pregame mixes for my friends just for fun. It was just screwing around. And then this is where stuff kind of started to take off in a weird turn. People wanted me to post it on YouTube or on SoundCloud, not on YouTube. And I refused because I didn't want to embarrass myself because I knew they weren't that good. It was just something I did for fun. But then when we went back to Ultra that year, I wanted to make a pregame mix for us. And I did, and it was like an hour-and-a-half long mix of a bunch of remixes and mashups that I made. And my friends convinced me to post it. And I posted it, and one of my friends actually took it down to spring break that year in Fort Lauderdale and played it on the beach, and the mix blew up.
Oh yeah.
And it was nuts. And I've never experienced that before, and it was people actually liking something I made, and that was crazy. And I was telling him about it, and it got us super excited, and that started a whole project for me on SoundCloud that I've been doing the last 3.5 years.
I'd say so.
Where I started making my own mashups, my own mashup mixes, started spreading them around campus at Michigan State, which led to DJing opportunities at Michigan State. But then I started inviting him to the bars where I played. What was your experience when I actually started inviting you to the bars? From starting when you taught me how to DJ, and then like a year and a half later I was then playing at bars.
Well, it was crazy to me because it was just weird being in that position because I was the one DJing and you were the one sitting there looking at me like what's going on. And then when I got there, completely different scene, it's just never been there before, and just I don't even know what to say. Just crazy how fast he took off from DJing and started doing things on his own when I was over at Grand Valley. So yeah.
And this is something we've talked about forever, and we're so sad we didn't go to the same college because we've always been best friends that have been through this type of music together, and it's affected our relationship. It's made us much better friends, and we've got to experience those moments at shows together like a ton of times. So it was really cool that I was able to bring them to school with me occasionally and play these shows. The really cool thing though was last year on spring break.
Yeah, it was great.
I got an opportunity to go DJ in Fort Lauderdale college spring break through one of my buddies that I met at the bars, and I got to bring him. I was lucky enough to bring him, which was amazing because what started out us messing around with the mixer in his kitchen 2.5-3 years earlier
down Fort Lauderdale throwing some crazy parties for the spring breakers.
We ended up, I ended up opening for one of my favorite artists ever, and I brought him along. He was up on stage with me, and then I also played at a couple bars that trip, and I was playing for almost 1,000 kids a night.
Yeah, don't forget to mention the name, Audion.
Audion, yeah, I got to open up for Audion, which one of my top favorite DJs of all time. It was such an unreal experience. So yeah, when I came back from that trip, I really had a whole new vision or whole new outlook on this and what I wanted to do, and especially starting out as a bedroom DJ, not knowing what I was doing, or just knowing I loved the music but not knowing how I wanted to move it or pursue it, especially because I wanted to do it with him. I always wanted to work on the project with him, because he got me into it, and we've always been into it from the beginning. It really made me sit down and think kind of what to do. And we actually had an opportunity to work on a project together in the past. About a year ago, we worked with a producer out of Boston where we made a duo last fall. He was on the team, you were like our graphic design,
social media, like,
yeah,
just whatever.
Yeah, like whatever we had him do, whatever he could do on the team. And that project didn't work out. Just we weren't prepared well enough, and it just wasn't meant to be, and which was fine. I mean, you go through ups and downs doing this kind of stuff and just in life in general. And we're still good friends, me and the kid that we did a duo with in the past. But moving past that, we were talking later that year, and we were like, okay, how like, I don't want to give this up. I want to do this still. We're still young. We're 22. How do we do this? And also not how just do we do it, but how do we like make an impact?
Right.
Like I really wanted to do a project that had meaning behind it. It wasn't just like, oh yeah,
making songs,
and yeah, and performing.
Right.
I didn't want it to be like that. I wanted to help people. One of the coolest things that I've got to do in the last couple years is teach people how to DJ and teach people how to make mashups and teach people how to start whatever we're starting. Like
exactly.
That's been amazing. I've met people from around the world that I've got to share with Alan. Like we just met a kid from Pakistan not too long ago, and I'm really good friends with him, and he found us off my SoundCloud, and it's been amazing. We got to talk to him and help him pursue his dream of trying to produce like we are. And that is the type of stuff that we wanted to accomplish with this. I'm super excited to see where we go with this project, and see who we can help out and who we can understand, and who maybe can help us out. But what was your craziest realization from like the last couple of years, and like why we're even doing this?
Definitely had to be that spring break trip for me when you were opening up for Audion. It definitely makes me remember how way back when, at that first show when we said we were going to be doing this together, and now that we're here, it's slowly been starting to get a little bit faster and faster, and it's been a crazy ride. And I'm glad we're back here right now. It's only been a year that we've been producing, so who knows what's going to be happening in the next few months.
I mean, we've been taking our time with it. We like Alan said, we've been producing for a year. We've been getting together with a marketing team. We've been really trying to figure out how to make this more than just music production. We really want to take baby steps, but strive for the future and really achieve that goal of connecting others and making sure that just so they know that they're not alone, and they can come message us or talk to us whenever if they're feeling sad or troubled or anything, if there's anything wrong in their life. But you know, with all that said, we really appreciate you guys taking the time to watch this video and hear a little bit about ourselves and what we're trying to achieve long term with this project of Alu. We're super excited to get music out to you guys and kind of express what we're feeling and what we're trying to create.
Thanks for making it to the end of the video and listening to a little bit of our stories. Maybe you guys have a similar one, and we'd love to hear it. If you do, put it down in the comments. Hit the subscribe button to join this movement that we got going on here, and make sure you're always looking up.
See you guys soon.
Peace.